Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline, and today we're going to talk about gemstones raining from the sky due to volcanic eruptions. You might have heard a little bit of rumor about this from the Kilauea eruption lately, but I first heard of it about 5 years ago when it had to do with the Mount Pinatubo eruption. Now, the Pinatubo eruption was a ways back, 1991. So I never heard anything about it in 1991, but about 5 years ago they were saying that quartz crystals were raining from the sky and dropped all over around where the eruption had occurred. And I thought that was pretty strange, especially because I heard of it so many years after the actual eruption. Now I look for that information now, and I can only find one example of it anywhere on the internet. Maybe there's more, but I couldn't find it. So all I found was this little sentence here. During a major volcanic explosion of Mount Pinatubo in 91, rumors spread that the volcano was spewing out diamonds. People said about frantically sifting through fallen ash, but the stones proved to be quartz crystals formed by the hardening of magma inside the volcano. So this one still caught my attention quite a bit, even 5 years ago. I do not remember this part about them saying they thought it was diamonds. All I heard was quartz crystals were all over the place and people were collecting them. And this one kind of made sense to me because they said the quartz crystals had formed inside the volcano and then got blasted out. So that sounded somewhat plausible, although unlikely. But as a person that's interested in rockhounds, it definitely caught my attention. That's why now just recently, when I heard this one, Hawaii's volcano is literally erupting gemstones. I immediately had to check that out because I was under the impression that Mount Pinatubo one was very rare, and there was no instances of any other known spewing of diamonds or gemstones in any other volcanoes. So now all of a sudden here it is again. So the first stories went like this, and you can see these are peridot. It's a green gemstone. When it's kind of rough and blah like this, they call it olivine. If it's really nicer looking, they'll call it peridot. So some of these latest articles, Hawaii's Kilauea volcano has been fiercely erupting for well over a month now. Residents are finding little green gems that have fallen out of the sky during Kilauea's eruption. The green gems are olivine crystals. Okay, olivine is fairly common gemstone to be found in volcanic eruption areas. The thing that's weird is that I was always led to believe that it was a slow cooling of the lava into rock would create these little gemstones, would also solidify inside the rock. But this one makes it sound weird because it's like, how is it raining down? So supposedly these are raining down all over the place. So here's the storyline for this Forbes article. Typically, olivine erupts with the calm oozing of basalt lava on Hawaii. The calm oozing of basalt lava. Yeah, I've not heard that one either. Locking it away within the rock fabric. What I understood to happen was that the lava would cool, and then rock would form, and then the little gemstones would form inside the rock. So, erupts with the calm oozing of, no, that doesn't make sense. Anyways, however, in this instance, the sudden ejection of lava into the air rapidly cools and separates the melt, allowing the olivine to lithify as a separate crystal. This is really interesting here because they're basically saying that the lava is blasted into the air, insta-cools, and crystals form as separate crystals and rain down. And that really caught my attention. So basically, they're magically almost being formed in the air out of the lava. The lava is turning into crystals and raining down. That's pretty weird sounding. And this is a really nice image here of some lava eruptions too. So anyways, I saw a lot of articles on that, and then just today I was looking into it more, and this originally was a similar article, but then they had this update. Update 615, which was yesterday. Olivine is not raining down on Hawaii from the Kilauea's eruption, at least not the way the photos circulated on social media suggest. Now, social media, there's people, eyewitness accounts said they saw it raining down. So geologists from the University of Hawaii and USGS say the olivine crystals in the photos are likely not from this eruption, which they say is olivine poor. Trace amounts of olivine could be embedded with some of the volcanic rocks that spew out of the volcano, but these mineral specimens are tiny and would not rain down in the manner suggested. So this is interesting because they're saying, oh, we don't think it's happening with this eruption, but it leaves open the door that it happened with previous eruptions. And there are actually, they say, beaches full of these olivine crystals that were formed via the volcano. Now, my understanding was always that as the rock weathered, these little crystals could be released. I'm not sure why they would all be in one area on the beach and all the rest of the rock not be there so much. I don't know if they're going to say that the ocean separated out all the olivine crystals or what, but anyway, I've never heard of them raining down. I've certainly heard of the rock forming, gradually cooling, and these things cooling in the rock and then getting weathered out. Raining down is a whole nother level, though. I mean, raining gemstones. Okay, so here's another storyline. I think it's just coming out either in the air, which civilians on the ground have said, or breaking free upon impact. So this one is saying that it's either formed in the air or it's being formed with the rock, and then the rock is hitting the ground and popping out the olivine crystals. It's probably not down to weathering, as this should take longer. See, weathering is the only storyline I've ever heard. So this is just weird. If it's breaking free on impact, it's likely escaping from pieces of freshly cooled scoria, lava-formed rock that's peppered with very small holes called vesicles. So, but they're implying that the scoria is kind of just formed, insta-formed with the, I don't know, the whole thing. It's just not at all what I've ever heard. Stovall pointed out to IFL Science, however, that the presence of olivine raining down and is based on a second-hand report. It hasn't been observed by any USGS geologists who have also yet to see crystals like this on the ground. I even had people who were in the field looking for them. They still haven't seen this phenomena, and the olivine doesn't look like primary deposits from Fissure 8. Perhaps then the olivine samples were produced by older eruptive event or just stumbled upon by civilians. So again, they're leaving open the possibility that this can happen. They're just not necessarily saying that it happened with this one. So what's going on here? What is the storyline about how olivine is formed? Okay, so according to Wiki, olivine, which peridot is a type, is often found in lavas and in peridotite xenoliths of the mantle, which lavas carry to the surface. But gem-quality peridot occurs in only a fraction of these settings. Peridots can also be found in meteorites. So they're saying that the peridot forms in the mantle and then lava carries it to the surface. That's a little bit different than saying that lava just cools and then gemstones fly out of it. So I think the story is slowly shifting here. One thing I was curious about is if the storyline is that the olivines are brought up from below, olivine supposedly crystallizes 1200 to 1300 Celsius. Okay, so what is the temperature of lava? Lava, 700 to 1300 Celsius. So apparently, yes, according to these current numbers, if olivine can crystallize out at 1300, and that is kind of the top temperature of lava, then yeah, olivine could crystallize right out of there and then get thrown. So that's kind of a trip for me. It's just something I've never heard of. Also, you know, there's not much info on the quartz crystal one. Is it a similar story that the quartz crystals were formed and thrown? Anyways, I think there's something going on here with this whole thing. Again, it's sort of like a fairy tale story. Gemstones raining from the sky. Then the storyline has shifted to allow this weird thing, and I think that this may be Mandela Effect related. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.